During the Cold War, Albania became one of the most isolated countries in the world. The government believed that an invasion could happen at any moment. Because of this constant fear, massive underground bunkers and tunnels were built across the country. One of the most impressive of these is the Cold War tunnel you are seeing in this video. The tunnel was built during the rule of Enver Hoxha, the communist leader who governed Albania from the end of World War II until the 1980s. Hoxha believed that Albania was surrounded by enemies. At different times, he feared attacks from NATO countries, the Soviet Union, and even neighboring states. Because of this paranoia, the government began an enormous defense program that focused on building underground shelters and bunkers. The idea behind this tunnel was simple. If war broke out, the country's political and military leadership needed a place where they could hide, communicate, and continue running the government. Deep underground, protected by thick layers of rock and concrete, these tunnels were designed to survive bombs and possibly even nuclear attacks. Construction of the tunnel took several years and required a huge amount of labor. Workers dug through solid rock and built long corridors, rooms, and hidden passages. Inside the tunnel, there were offices, meeting rooms, sleeping quarters, storage areas, and communication centers. Everything was designed so that important officials could stay underground for long periods of time, if necessary. The tunnel was also carefully hidden from the outside world. During the Cold War, most ordinary Albanian citizens didn't even know that places like this existed. These facilities were considered top secret, and only military personnel and government officials had access to them. Life in Albania at that time was very different from today. The country was closed off from much of the world, and the government controlled almost every aspect of daily life. Propaganda constantly warned people about possible foreign attacks. This climate of fear helped justify the massive bunker building program that took place across the country. In fact, Albania built hundreds of thousands of bunkers during this period. Small concrete domes appeared on beaches, in fields, in the mountains, and near cities. They were meant to be used by soldiers and civilians in case of invasion. The tunnel you see here was part of that same defensive strategy, but on a much larger and more secret scale. Ironically, despite all the time, money, and effort spent building these tunnels and bunkers, they were never actually used for their original purpose. Albania was never invaded during the Cold War, and the massive underground shelters were never needed during a real military emergency. After the communist regime collapsed in the early 1990s, many of these secret locations were abandoned. For years, they remained hidden, forgotten, or closed to the public. But over time, some of them were reopened and transformed into historical sites and museums. Today, tunnels like this serve as a reminder of a very tense period in Albania's history. Walking through these underground corridors, it's easy to imagine how serious the government was about preparing for war. Every room, every hallway, and every reinforced wall tells a story about fear, secrecy, and survival during the Cold War. Instead of protecting leaders from bombs, the tunnel now protects something different: history. Visitors can explore the same spaces that were once meant to shelter officials during a possible war. What was once a top-secret military structure has become a place where people can learn about the past and understand how life was during one of the most isolated periods in Albania's history. Standing inside this tunnel today, it feels almost surreal. Built for a war that never came, it remains as a powerful symbol of the Cold War era and the extreme measures that countries sometimes take when they believe danger is just around the corner.